I hope you enjoy my stories. Instead of just clicking thumbs down, please comment and share how we can do better. If you do like our video, then please like and subscribe.
Belinda and Frank were sitting at the far end of the bar, engaged in quiet conversation. Jon had a perpetually bored look on his face and turned in his chair to face the rest of the club. Finally turning his attention to various conversations around the room, he sought something of interest, something to participate in. Various bits and pieces of conversation filtered through his awareness. He focused now on one particular table, with two individuals sitting on it dressed in construction working clothing. Bright fluorescent coveralls stood out, even in the casual atmosphere of the bar. He nonchalantly reached over and touched Belinda on the arm in an attempt to get her attention. She gave him, "I'm busy right now," look. He touched her arm again, more insistent this time. She openly sighed, then made a couple of quick remarks to Frank, before standing up. See what Jon wanted. Taking Belinda by the arm, he led her through the bar, to one particular table, where the two gentlemen were having a discussion. Hector sat casually at the table, clutching a glass of beer with his dirty fingers. His hard hat, bright red, still adorned his head. Across the table from him, Arnie sat nursing a rye and soda. His hard hat was sitting on the table in front of him, almost obscuring his drink. "Arnie, did you check out the website I sent you?" Looking up at Hector, he said, "Oh, that, yes. What a piece of shit. Where do you come up with these things?" Hector got a puzzled look on his face and readjusted his beer to his left hand. "What are you talking about? DNA is real. It's not some futuristic concept. These guys are for real, and I personally think it's a great deal. And I was going to bring you with me," he said, leaning forward. Taking a sip from his glass, Arnie shook his head at that. "Hector, bring me where? Into the future? After all, isn't that their promise? And by the way, I'm not saying DNA isn't real. I'm saying the website is a scam." Hector leaned farther across the table. "It's not a scam. And 200 or 300 years, cloning can be done," he said defiantly. "Hector, say hundreds." "What? Hundreds? Why?" Looking insulted. "You are missing the D sound. Hundreds. Say it again." "Hundreds, hundreds. Quit making fun of me," he sputtered. The reaction caused Arnie to grin at him. "Hector, we can clone now. Don't you remember the newspaper article on Holly the sheep? We don't have to wait 300 years to be able to clone." Sitting back in his chair, Hector took a long taste from his beer and then rolled his eyes at Arnie. "What do you think, I'm stupid? I only know that we can clone now. I'm saying, in the future, it'll probably be commonplace. Besides all that, the price is cheap. A measly $1,200. They even have a special on. A 2-for-1 special. And I thought about bringing you." In an attempt to try to pacify Hector, he said, "Have you really checked out the site? Think about it. There's no company logos, no company email, no address, or even a vague idea of their location. That should not just ring a bell, it should bang a damn gong. The only email address I found was a damn Yahoo address. You should know that most of the scammers use those addresses. They don't use a real address that you can track. The whole site is filled with hype, and even that is not great." Hector's eyes sparkled as he thought of a defining point to his argument. "Yeah, but you get to pay it, pal. That means it has to be legit." He finished his drink in one move and set the glass on the table a little harder than he had intended. "It doesn't make a legit. The only thing that pay it, pal, is careful about our pyramid schemes," he said, raising his voice. "So what you are telling me, Arnie, is these guys are making everything up." "They are making up DNA and everything else," Hector said in an insulting tone. Actively trying to avoid any further conversation, Arnie signaled the waitress for more drinks. He was unable to resist the challenge and reluctantly continued the conversation. "No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, taken a couple of facts, and manufactured everything from those few facts. Let's look at some things logically. There is a big DNA project that is trying to store the DNA of all living things on the planet, particularly those that are considered to be endangered or due to go extinct. Now, when you look at their procedures compared to how the website describes things, you'll see a big difference. Difference 1. The website states that they will store your DNA at 0 Fahrenheit. The real project uses liquid nitrogen for storage, several hundred degrees colder. The main reason is long-term storage. Your freezer in your house is colder than 0 Fahrenheit. The waitress promptly arrived, agilely placing the drinks in front of each of them, and left without a word. Difference 2. Not one DNA researcher has suggested that your memories are stored in your DNA. The kind of memories they're talking about are instinctual memories. My newest friends, you seem to have reached a dilemma in your disagreement, Jon said as he approached the table. Both stopped talking at the interruption and openly stared at Belinda. Noticing where their attention was focused, Jon remarked as he took a seat at the table, "Quite fetching, isn't she?" Belinda hovered for a moment and then decided to sit down next to Jon. Jon positioned himself so that he could make eye contact with both of them. My friends, the DNA argument is awkward. True, a lot of research has gone into DNA on this planet. True, cloning is available. The awkward part comes in when you have a clone. Is the clone truly you? I would suggest that the clone is completely unique and subject to whatever environment it is conditioned to. Your friend is right to suggest that the memory is not stored in the DNA. All you would have created is a blank slate. To create or recreate you would have to recreate all circumstances and all of the environments that made you, you. But it's only $1,200 and that makes it worth a shot. Hector said with finality. Okay, let's look at it this way then. Suppose that you are correct. 300 years from now, they assemble a clone. I will assume that has been suggested that it will not be a full-size clone, but a baby. Now, as I've said before, DNA does not contain your memories. The reality becomes this: yes, you have a clone that is living in the future. You'll never know. You will already be dead. Tell me what you think the value is in that. Arnie just nodded his head in agreement. I suppose you're right, and I personally would have nothing to gain. However, it's still a cool idea to have me running around in the future. Jon gave Hector a thoughtful look. Immortality can be a bother. Living for long stretches of time only seems like a good idea at the time. You have to face intimate boredom. However, there is still a way. What way? Arnie asked. While the state of robotics on this planet is still in its infancy, the future looks bright. Now suppose that we could build you an android or a robot, if you prefer, and install your memories into that machine. The robot is easily repairable and can be made to last for an indefinite period of time. It would also be possible to move your memories to a new unit. Now you have all your memories, in fact, and continue to exist. The only downside, of course, is you've lost your human form. Hector gulped his beer and smiled happily at Jon. What's the website for that one? Hector asked, quite impressed. There is no website for that. It is a what-if scenario, similar to your DNA scenario. Just because possible future science can do something doesn't mean you should invest in it now. Do you understand the point? Jon asked. No, I don't get the point, Hector said, confused. Arnie rolled his eyes and then looked at Jon and said, "He's always like that. He has no common sense at all, and I'm really glad he doesn't have a lot of money, because he would just go broke." Jon smiled widely at both of them, with an evil glint in his eye. Well, my new friends, I'll let you in on a little secret here. Both of you have noticed my friend Belinda. In fact, you stared at her, and I can guess the thoughts that went through your mind. Belinda is an android, a very fine android, and quite intelligent, however still a machine. How do you like her now? You just pulling my leg, Arnie said. If you can keep the secret, I can prove it, Jon stated. Yes, I can keep a secret, Arnie chuckled. Belinda, detach your right hand and give it to this man. he said, pointing at Arnie. She shot Jon a look of disgust, but complied and removed her right hand and offered it to Arnie. Arnie almost fell out of his chair, trying to get away from it, but Hector smiled and cheered. Belinda reattached her hand and stood up. I'm going back to the bar to talk to Frank, as he seems to be the only sensible one here, and don't involve me in your silly games anymore, she said angrily as she stalked off. Jon openly laughed and said, Okay, my friends, I'll leave you to your discussion. I still have to make amends with Belinda, or there will be no living with her. With that, Jon rose from his chair and proceeded to wander to other areas of the bar. Dwayne and Bill were sitting a few tables away. Dwayne took it upon himself to approach the two. Gentlemen, it was an elegant trick he pulled on you. He's done similar things to us, he said, indicating his friend Bill at the other table. We were here first magic show as well. I wouldn't use the word entertaining. However, it was different. He's definitely a magician of some sort, and what you just witnessed is just an illusion. That pretty girl there, she is his assistant. I remember her from the show. So you mean he's just screwing with us? Arnie asked. I guess that's one way to put it, Dwayne said, as he made his way back to his table. Hector looked at Arnie, his excitement overwhelming. Spilled out in a rush. I want to know more about the robots. Arnie lowered his eyes to his drink, deciding the drink was far better company.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.